You're going to have no more excuses in hearing God's voice, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a big promise to you. And my promise to you is this, that you are going to know that God has already been communicating with you. And I'm going to show you 4 ways that he's already been speaking to you. The good news is you need to realize that in the past, and now even in the present and the future, that God speaks to you. He communicates with you. So you need to realize that he's already been doing that for you. But my question to you to start with is, do you believe that God created you to communicate with him? In other words, you have this relationship with him, but do you think he has given you the ability to communicate? Just put yes in the chat box if you believe that is true. What I'm going to share with you today is, my personal opinion is the greatest revelation God ever gave me about hearing God's voice. And I've shared this with many people around the world, and they will testify that, yes, they can hear God's voice. And a lot of times, most people don't hear God's voice because they don't know how to hear God's voice. But I'm going to share with you this revelation. And several years ago, he just used this phrase, God's Wi-Fi. Well, we know with like the internet and the phone, we have Wi-Fi signals. We can't see them, and we can't see God's Wi-Fi signals either, but he's always communicating with us. So you need to ask yourself, well, Jeffrey, what is God's Wi-Fi? Well, it starts with the word W, which is words. God communicates us through words. It can be words that he speaks in your language, or it could be phrases that you use. It could be God speaking through others, like me, for example, speaking to you. It could be his holy scriptures. There's many ways that God speaks to us. So that's words. The second one is images. I didn't realize this till about 10 years ago, that God speaks to us through images, because in John 10:27, it says, my sheep hear my voice, I know them, and they follow me. So I thought it was just word. That's not true. He speaks to us through pictures and images. He can also use memories. There's times where the Lord will bring a memory up to me, and it's like, okay, Lord, there's a reason you're showing this to me. So you need to ask him why he's bringing these memories up. And there's other times where he may show you like a picture or an image of some person. And so right then you need to ask the Lord, why are you bringing this person to my awareness? Do you want me to pray for them? You want me to contact them? What is it? So ask the Lord what that is. So words, images, and the third one is feelings. How many of you really love the presence of the Lord, the peace, the love, the joy that he gives? And if you think about it, God can only give you what he has. So there are certain ways that God communicates to you through feelings. Some are positive, but others are not. For example, he has communicated with you through warnings. In other words, there's kind of a check in your spirit where you're just going, that just doesn't feel right. I've had opportunities where I asked the Lord, do you want me to do this? He said, no. I did it anyway, even though he told me, and obviously it did not work out. You know, if you're trying to convince God to do something he's not told you to do, you're not going to win that fight at all. So God's been communicating with you through words, images, feelings, and the last one is impressions. Say impressions. The best way I can describe it as an impression is like a word on a shirt, like let's say the word hope. When you get this impression, you don't see a picture of hope, and you don't actually hear hope. It comes like from your heart area. And I'll give you a perfect example where there's times where I've asked the Lord for a person's name. Instead of me trying to figure out in my mind, what's that person's name? And I'll literally go through the whole alphabet trying to figure out their name. I'll just wait and wait. And this is the best way I can describe it. It's almost like a bubble just pops, and then the word comes out. His name is Steve. Oh yeah, his name is Steve. So, like I promised you, with God's Wi-Fi, God's already been communicating with you through words and images, feelings, and impressions. So, here's some good news for you. God can communicate with you through one or a combination of God's Wi-Fi. So, my question to you here is, which one of these does God typically communicate with you? Is it words, images, feelings, or impressions?